I always believed that God was just trying to torment me. When I first realized what was going on and what everything about my son, and especially when we finally got diagnosis. So accepting that condition wasn't an easy thing. At first I kept believing that this will all pass. This just for a while. Even my husband, even before we went for this diagnosis, my husband actually was just believing that just normal speech delay, that my son will talk. Just don't worry, it's coming. He's going to talk, And another thing is that my son. Sometimes my son will say one word, like once in a while he will say one thing. Will now be believing that okay, he's going to get better, But when we saw that, we just have to. It's just a condition that we have to deal with. It wasn't easy for me. I know I cried a lot. I kept asking questions. You always ask God, why me? One thing is, most of the time when we hear stories about things or we see people around, things happen to people, you never believe, you never imagine that it would come to you. It's always, God forbid, it won't be my portion. But then when you now see that it is your portion, when you now see the thing, the thing like happening to you, you now be wondering how on earth did it even happen to me? No mother ever gets pregnant and even imagines what if she ends up having an autistic child. You won't even ever imagine that. But then by the time you see it done, what will you do? I just like I said before, I always believed that God was just trying to torment me, or just tormenting. I would say, why does God want to punish me? For which type of sin did I do that other people did not do, that is now my own, that will now make that God will now want to carry all the burden and come and put on me, I think the most important thing when it comes to dealing with a child with autism or a child with disability, the most important thing that is needed in the family is support from each of the partners or spouses, So I've been able to go through all this thing and get to the success level we have gotten to now because my husband has always been supportive. We are doing all these things together, going through it together, and there's harmony in the family. That's the most important thing. My first son has always had problem with feeding since he was little. Since he became 1 year old, we've noticed that his tongue movement is very limited, and because of it, it affected his speech, it affected his feeding, and he doesn't know how to chew. Even until now, he doesn't really chew well. He has learned to chew actually, though, but feeding is still a lot of work. Anytime my son has to eat now, someone must sit down there and be prompting him. He would stay on that food for now. Now that he has improved, though, my son will take at least 1 hour, 1 to 2 hours to finish eating. Each time he has to eat anything. I keep wondering, when he grows up, is he going to be able to, maybe if he gets into a situation where he would have to defend himself among his colleagues or among his peers, among his friends, would he be able to really speak up for himself and say what he has inside? And I just keep praying that it gets better, because until now my son still cannot really express what he feels. We still keep prompting him we ask him questions and prompt him to answer, but he still doesn't really answer everything. He actually cannot answer anything out of his mind on his own. It's only things that we prompt him to say that he still says. So I keep hoping that we'll still get better improvement on that. One reaction that I've always gotten most of the time from people is pity. Some people try, when I tell somebody, sorry, he's actually autistic. Pardon, my son is autistic. Some people will be like, yeah, like the way they would respond, like, and start trying to show, how some will be feeling, how is this one managing? Pity this one. But I don't pay any attention at all on what people say, what people try to say. Some would want to say, but why have you tried going to pastor so? They will help you. I don't bother myself at all about what they say. But most times when people try to send me pastors' names or advices, see this pastor or something, they will help you or something. I don't I don't disrespect anybody who's trying to help me out of my situation. They believe they're trying to help. So I also always show my appreciation, thank the person for trying to help and for even caring. But then when it comes to people staring at my son or whatever they may think in their head, doesn't bother me at all. I don't care. The only thing I will not really take at all is someone coming to say nasty things about my son. That I will not take from anybody, even though I have not experienced it. For my two sons, their condition only affects their speed in catching up in class. But I don't think it's having any negative impact. It would have had negative impact on my children's academics if we didn't know the right way to handle it. But now we already found out the right way to handle our children and help them learn. So the only negative impact is drawing them, slowing down their progress in learning. But apart from that, my children are doing very well, very perfectly in school. At first, it wasn't easy for me, but now I feel I have embraced it so well. And I feel happy. I feel happy for my children. I feel happy. Like, I'm thankful to God. I'm thankful to God now. I don't feel all those resentment. It wasn't resentment. I was never resentful towards God, but I'm happy and I thank God for the most important thing is that I thank God for even giving me the spirit to try to learn how to help my children. And now that I'm really doing a lot with them and everything is working well and we're getting very good progress, I'm very, very happy with it. And that's also the reason I also want to try my best to help other parents. That's why I started the awareness I'm doing now on Instagram and Facebook, and even the foundation. I started a new foundation too that I also want to go through the foundation. I also want to spread the news and also coach moms and teach moms how they can actually help their children too and get better. Patience. I thought my son has taught me how to be patient and wait for anything I'm doing to wait until the results start coming from anything I'm doing at all. And again, another thing that my son's condition has taught me too is my son has made me, this autism journey has actually made me to start thinking of life in another dimension. It has also helped me to think of building a career in childcare, special needs childcare. I would like people to know that children living with special needs are not useless in the society. They can learn. They can learn anything at all. And children. Okay, first of all, why I say they are not useless in society is because I've heard a lot of speculations about how people place people, not even just hearing, I've actually seen it when we were little, when we were growing up. And also remember once when my sister told one of her friends that I have a child, an autistic child. The person was actually trying to sympathize with my sister, telling her, "Oh my God, oh sorry, and these people, people like this don't really do well in school. And most times you just leave them to grow up. When they grow up, you now find something, maybe some handwork to teach them and everything." So I didn't even feel bad when I heard what the lady said, because that's actually what we felt when we were little, So we need people in our society, in our environment, to understand that people with special needs are not useless. The progress we're getting from our therapy, when I see how much progress we're getting, I get more motivated to keep carrying on and going with my son. He pays attention to details. He's someone that would sit down, and when my son looks at anything you're showing him, he thinks of that thing he thinks of that thing very deeply, not in the surface at all. It's even always very difficult for us to understand how he pictures things. So I believe that my son has that creative ability that would make him do inventions, do a lot of things in the future when he grows up. They should not leave their children in denial. One bad thing for us to parents to do is keeping our children in denial. When we even see, once you have seen that there's a difference in your child, there's something your child is not doing right. Even if you don't, I always say, some people just don't want people to say my child has autism. They just don't want people to mention that. So even if you don't want people to say, even if you don't want to just mention it out, but one thing I can tell you that as a parent, try to find ways, try to study, make researches, ask questions about how to help your child to learn, how to teach your child. Take it upon yourself. That is your duty as a parent, to bring your child up in the right way, to give your child everything that child needs to grow up and achieve the things that they are destined to achieve in future. In order to try to educate other parents out there, I decided to start this awareness, start creating awareness about autism and therapy. Both in social media. I started with Facebook, on social media. Started with Facebook and then Instagram, and I've also started my YouTube channel too. So I'm trying to create awareness by making content with my son, showing other parents what I'm able to achieve with my son now, and what they can also achieve if they put that effort in trying to do that too by themselves. My son reacted to one malaria medicine, anate. So this favorite food is jollof rice. Ike favorite food. Ike doesn't have favorite food. My little son eats everything.